Hi everyone, so let's look at our learning for Tuesday the 9th of June. So as we always do, we're going to start off with our reading. And we're going to be continuing with our Mixed Vipers, focusing on Chapter 2 of Matilda today. So first question, again, try and work out which of the Vipers this one would be linked to. So why won't Mr. Wormwood let Matilda eat her dinner in the dining room? So again, let's just find some information in the text that would help us with this. So the excuse that he's given there is that he says it's a family gathering and nobody leaves the table until it's all finished. But if you look down below here, it's what's wrong with watching the telly. So realistically, the reason that he doesn't want Matilda to eat in the dining room is because he'll have to join her and he wants to actually watch the TV while he has his dinner. So my answer for this would be Mr. Wormwood didn't want Matilda to eat her dinner at the dinner table because he didn't want to have to sit with her. He didn't want to sit at the table because he couldn't watch the TV from there. Okay, so he really wanted to watch TV and he wasn't really bothered that she wanted to sit at the table. Okay, so let's have another go at a different type of question. How can you tell Mr. Wormwood likes Mike more than Matilda? So again, let's find some evidence in the text. Now we don't need to answer the fact that he does prefer Mike because it already tells us that he does. So we're just looking for evidence now in the text that tells us that. So if you look, there's two pieces of information there. So he calls the names. That would be one piece of information which would support the idea that he prefers Mike over Matilda. He ignores Matilda when he speaks, when she was speaking, and just turned to Mike instead. And an extra bit of information there is that eventually he hopes that Mike will join the family business one day, which tells us that he's not going to give it to Matilda. She's not invited to join. So they would be my answers to that. It's a good solid answer, maybe a 2 or 3 mark question there. Lots of information, and again, finding the evidence from the text. So have a go at your questions for chapter 2 today, and again, just work out if you need to give evidence or not from the text, depending on the type of question that you're answering. Okay, so on to our maths for today, and we're going to continue with our geometry topic. So we're still looking at shapes, and today we're going to be focusing on regular and irregular shapes, and we're going to understand what those two terms mean by the end of this lesson. So we're going to be concentrating on shapes that are called polygons in this lesson. Now, as we said before, we were looking at regular and irregular polygons. So just before we start trying to categorize these true or false statements, a polygon, an example of a polygon is a rectangle, a pentagon, a square, a trapezium. All those are polygons. Obviously they have different amounts of sides, but what makes them a polygon is that they have to have straight lines and they don't have any gaps within the shape. They're a closed shape. So let's have a go at trying to categorize these, and this might help us then understand more about polygons. So let's go ahead and start to sort these statements. So we start with the first one, which says that they have 5 or more sides. Well, a triangle can be an example of a polygon because it's got straight sides and it hasn't got any gaps. It's a complete shape, so it's a closed shape, we could say. So having 5 or more sides will be false, because it can have 5 or more, but it doesn't have to have. So we will be putting that one in the false box. So we've said before they're made up of straight lines, so that must be true. Okay, they can't have a curved side, so a semicircle would not be a polygon. It's got the smallest sides. The smallest number of sides that a polygon can have is 3, because they must join together, but the sides must be straight. So got to have straight lines. 2D shapes, yes they are. So that means that they're not a 3D shape, so we can put 3D shape in the false. And we've said before they're a closed shape, they've got no gaps, so we can pop that one in the true statement. Open shapes we've discussed already. They can't have open shapes, they've got to be a closed shape, so that would be in there. And we've talked about the fact that a semicircle isn't a polygon because it's got a curved side, so that again would be false. So there are your sort of properties of a polygon, and let's begin to think about what regular and irregular means in the context of polygons. So before we have a go at this, if you pause the video and we'll have a think about, if you look at the red text there, it says they must have the same length of sides and the internal angles must be equal. So for a shape to be regular, it's got to have the same side lengths and the internal angles must be equal. So if you pause the video and have a quick go at that, see if you can identify which ones fall into that regular bracket. So we start on the left, we've got this hexagon here, and you can see that the side lengths are all the same. So that's one tick. Remember, they have to have both of those things for it to be regular. And you can see that although we haven't got a protractor to measure, you can see that the internal angles are equal. So for that hexagon, we would circle that one, and that would be classed as regular. If we look at this shape at the bottom, you can see that the side lengths are different, or the side lengths might be the same actually, but you can see that the angles that's created inside the shape are different. So that one, which is actually a rhombus, is not a regular polygon because the angles inside are not equal. In the middle we've got that square look, which is dead easy. Side lengths are the same and it's got 4 90-degree angles, so we know that one is regular. And then if we look at the trapezium, at the top we can say that the angles are definitely not equal, and the side lengths are certainly not equal. So put that cross back over, and then the bottom one would be a regular polygon because the side lengths are the same and we've got the same internal angles, which in this case, because it's a triangle and the internal angles add up to 180, each of your internal angles here would be 60 degrees each, 180 divided by 3. Okay, so just remembering, regular polygons got to have the same length of sides and they've got to have the same internal angles. They must all be equal. So let's have a look at this octagon, see if you can work out if this is regular or not, right, true or false. Okay, so hopefully you've got this one, but just to make sure we know, if you look at these two angles here, you can see that they are different. So we would be saying that they are starting to think about this one as irregular. And the biggest giveaway though is the side lengths. You can see these two side lengths where the arrows are pointed to are completely different. So in this example, in irregular octagon. Okay, so hopefully you've got the idea of those regular and irregular polygons. Keep going with those times table Rockstars as much as you can. The more you do, the quicker you'll become at those. Okay, so on to our writing, and again we're going to continue with our spelling, punctuation and grammar focus. And today we're looking at making verbs using suffixes. So this is a little bit of a spelling task. And just remind ourselves what a suffix is. A suffix comes at the end of a word, and it's going in our examples today, it's going to create a verb from either a noun or an adjective. So if you pause the video, see if you can work out, you've got the root words at the bottom, and see if you can work out if they're going to go with ate or ate at the end, or ise. Okay, pause the video and then we'll have a look at our answers together. So the best thing to do when you're solving these ones is to say the word along with the suffix. So for example, if we start with equalate or equalize, well, equalize sounds correct. So if we click that, we can see it goes over to the equalize side. Advertate or advertise, yeah, you can start to see the idea. Fertilize, medicate, captivate, pollinate, strange one, but elasticate, motivate, terrorize, finalize, vandalize, and alienate. Okay, so in all of those contexts now, you've changed either from a noun or a verb, a noun or an adjective, into a verb with that suffix. Okay, so let's have a quick look at some of the spelling rules then that we might apply when we're adding these suffixes. So if we're going to make this word captivate, we're going to remove the E and then we're going to add ate. With medicate, we're going to remove the AL and add ate. With motivate, we'll be removing the E before adding ate, so that follows the same as captive up there. And elasticate, we just add ate. Alienate, we're just adding ate. And pollinate, we're going to, for this one, slightly, this is a exception to the rule, we're going to take out the E and replace it with an I and then add ate. So really, if the word ends in an E, we drop it and put ate. If it ends in a consonant, so C and N, we just add ate at the end. Okay, and then let's look at the spelling rule for adding ise. So with advertise, we just add it. Finalize, we just add ise. Equalize, we just add ise. Now, thinking about the rule from the previous one that we did, with fertilize, we're going to drop the E and add ise. And vandalize ends in a consonant, so we're just going to add it. And terrorize, or terror, ends in a R, so we're just going to add ise. Okay, so really quick spelling rule to get you going. Okay, so for two different types of suffixes now, we've got IFE and EN. So So again, if you pause the video and see if you can work out which of those root words goes with I, F, Y or EN. So again, same strategy as we did before. So say the root word and then say your suffix and see if you can work out which is which. So if we start with horror and horror, doesn't really work out, or horrify, you can see that it must go to horrify. If we take flat, that's going to go to flatten. If we take bright, brightify or brighten, be brighten. And notify, solidify, purify, lengthen, shorten, testify. So if you were to testify in a courtroom trial, mistaken, intensify, and thicken. So let's look at the rules again. So very similar idea to the ones that we've previously looked at. So for solid, we just add the IFY. Horrify, we just add remove the OR and add IFY. Notify, we're going to drop the E and add IFY. Same idea with purify. Testify, because it ends in a consonant, we just add IFE. And intensify, we're going to drop that E again and add IFE. Okay, so let's look at the rules for EN. So slightly different with this flatten. We're going to double the final T because the word flat only has one syllable, and then we're going to add that EN. And then for all of these up to thick, because they end in a consonant, it's got T, H, T and K, all we're going to do with these is we're just going to add the EN for these, and then mistake and mistaken, because it ends in an E, we're going to remove that E and then we're going to add EN. So let's just have a quick quiz before we start our activity. We've got a couple of 4 questions to do. See if you can work out the answers for each of these. So you just need to work out which of the underlined nouns or adjectives you're going to change into a verb with that suffix. So first one would be terrorise. You must straighten your tie, so it must be straighten. So again, good technique for these is to read within the sentence and start to solve. Okay, so pause the video again to have a go at number 3. Okay, so read the sentence. I often find it hard to motivate, so it must be motivate myself to complete my homework. And if you pause the video again for number 4, after a hot day, I had to put my chocolate in the fridge to solidify again. So again, really good strategies to read some of the words, try all the different words if you like in the sentence, and just check it makes sense. So good luck with those suffix questions today. Nothing too tricky, just remember to practice them, rehearse them verbally in your head before you start.